Okay, so it's time for a quick video on this topic. There is just some really strange stuff taking place on the planet right now and in the mass media. So much racism. And a lot of people don't understand that there are levels of propaganda out there that are working on certain demographics of the population that have confused race with religion and have also become very confused about the religion of Islam itself. Not only that, only 2% of terror attacks in Europe have been instigated by Muslims, been committed by Muslims. The vast majority of them have been committed by separatist groups. So, when we read about stories about the gun range in Arkansas and the jump to conclusion that someone's a Muslim because they're from India, I mean, you're seeing gross ignorance of world cultures. And so, we live in a society where there's so much attention supposedly given to racism when you look at these protests and when you look at all the focus on Ferguson. And in a way, it's almost working against those. It is working against those that are shining a true light on the real racism, the illusions of separation, the tribalism, those aspects of unconsciousness that do exist in our world. Now, I believe for the most part that if you're a good person, you can help ensure yourself against some bad things happening to you. But not every time. Things happen for a reason, I believe that. Sometimes karma's involved. Sometimes it may be because we're meant to learn something from the experience or become stronger. So it's not always necessarily because we did something wrong. But I'm not discounting the fact that there are random things that do happen in this world. Random. Completely random. Again, I believe that a lot of things happen for a reason. Do all things happen for a reason? Generally, I believe that. But I will leave room for randomness. And the fact of the matter is, there are certain aspects of the population that are going to respond with anger, with hatred, whether you choose to call it racism or whether you identify it to be something else. But people do respond to the messages that are being put out in the mass media. And looking at the mass media, looking at Fox News, looking at some of the headlines that are out there, there is just this whole wave of hatred that appears to be erupting at this time. And I would also say that we may also want to keep the people of Europe in our prayers. We think that we have it so fucked here in the United States. And when we look at Europe, for example, and imagine what it would be like to be a Muslim in Europe at this time. Or to have certain features, certain Persian features. Or to have a beard. Or to not even be a Muslim, but have something on your head. And have someone misconstrue that you're a Muslim. But for those that are Muslims, holy fuck. What a difficult, complicated, terrifying situation that could be, especially if you're a woman. And there are women and men right now living in fear. I can feel it. I can feel it. Just like when there was a lot of torture going on of Afghanis and Iraqis, I felt like I could feel it in my blood. And I expressed that angst in my shows. And I express it still to this day. And we've seen so many things come out that have confirmed that, yes, it's pretty barbaric, the things that have been done. And so, people need to look at this from different angles as to what this means. And this is about America being destroyed. Don't forget that. Because you just can't do this to other people. It's being done on purpose to actually destroy the image of the United States. People should know this. People that engage in hatred, people that engage in slurs against other people, people that engage in repeating the propaganda, saying that, and we're starting to see it right now. You can see it in the Facebook comment sections, in the YouTube comment sections, when people literally parrot what Fox News is saying. And some other networks are saying. And in many ways, CNN and Fox News are working together in this. Fox News may come out with some more sensational headlines and have some guests come on that say, all Muslims should be exterminated. Yeah, that'll fix the problem. Yeah, let's just start exterminating people. Let's just start pushing buttons that demolish whole cities. Which should bring me to another point that I should cover. We talk about the stage-managed world war. All this is building. A couple years ago, Iran was the hot topic. This could be building up to a return to putting Iran in the crosshairs and maybe moving forward with some sort of aggression that truly pushes things to the next stage. A lot of people have no idea that there is a global conspiracy in relation to the coming stage world war, nor 9/11. And by the way, there are other stories coming out right now of arrests taking place. One young guy was arrested for supposedly joining ISIS online, declaring his allegiance to ISIS. And his father was on CNN saying that he was likely set up by an FBI informant. And he talked about a sum of money that his son came across. He had the money to buy something, whether it was a gun or something else. There was $500 that his father was like, he didn't have that money. Somebody gave it to him. So there's a lot of entrapment going on. Mark Kessler, the former police chief back east, came out that he's been an FBI informant on a volunteer basis for well over a year. Some of you may remember him from the videos on YouTube where he's screaming libtarbs as he shoots his gun out into the forest, acting like he's going to be violent if they come and take it. And he said he did that to attract the crazies, to see what type of people would support him. And those people are being watched, those people are being flagged, and perhaps other people that may perhaps even just shared content from Mark Kessler. I know there was a period of time where that guy was quite popular. The point is that these provocateurs, these FBI informants, these other questionable individuals are in our midst at this time. And I can even look at CNN reports where they're going after women. Why do women join ISIS? Why do women enjoy radical fundamentalism? This, again, not just attacking one group, they're seeking to attack and marginalize multiple groups. And then we look at these protests here in the United States, people protesting police brutality, but also people getting a little out of hand in their protests and rhetoric being repeated ad nauseum that all cops are murderers and racists. I mean, there's this complete blind spot on the part of many of these protesters, that there is a need for police in some situations. And police should be spending more time protecting people and responding to stories of assault and theft, and spending less time on revenue generation. It's worse in some parts of the country than others when it comes to tickets and revenue generation. Portland has become a lot more in demand as a city, so they've been able to bring in income through other means. It used to be worse. There used to be a lot more preying on the population. Today it's worse in places like Texas, places like Dallas, other cities in America, Miami, Los Angeles. Ultimate nightmarish police states for those that may not have their registration or insurance in order, because we are in the age of technology, license plate readers, and just a whole generation of police officers that aren't very qualified to do other work or to do other things. Same goes for many people in security. Not to be insulting to old people that are in those professions, but to speak to a specific demographic that is being recruited in security, TSA, police, military, so on and so forth. As we see society being socially engineered. For many men and women, we have security, law enforcement, and things of that nature, homeland security. And for a growing number of women, we have the sex industry. And for the future, we have the world of sex slavery that's being built. So there's a lot of attempts to keep us warring and fighting, and I see that. And also to make us feel defensive, like, oh my God, they're coming after me. Oh my God, this is fucked. I better not speak out again. There's that whole psychological effect of what's taking place. And in my situation, being that my last name is Ansari. Well, Ansari comes from Ansar, and Ansar comes from the tribe of Medina. They were Muhammad's bodyguards. Even though I'm not a Muslim, I have an Islamic last name, which is pretty up there in terms of notoriety in the Islamic world. So this group named Ansar al-Sharia, or Ansar al starts with an M, I can't enunciate it, and also Ansar al-Islam. These are radical Islamic groups that have attached themselves to the Ansar name because of the notoriety in that part of the world. Okay? You understand? Oh, let's call ourselves this. We'll get support. Yeah, the Ansars, the helpers. They are anything but helpers. These groups associate with ISIS and ISIS themselves, all of course run by the Mossad, CIA, and or Saudi Arabia. A lot of this is contrived. So I consider it very offensive to see them using the surname of my last name. To see Ansar al-Sharia and to see these groups in Egypt and elsewhere in Libya pledge their allegiance to ISIS. Why is the New World Order using my last name? Now, they oftentimes desecrate good things, and I do know there is good in my ancestry, in my past. Now, I'm going to share some of that next week. At least I'm going to share some information about my 11th century ancestor, who was quite the poet, quite the Sufi mystic. And I think the viewers are going to be appreciative of that. But we don't live in a world where people respect the ancestors, the teachings of the Far East from the ancient past, nor do they respect the offspring that are living today in Babylon that are trying to bring these spiritual teachings to the surface. No. We live in a world where people rather fight because their consciousness is so low that they're only able to extract any pleasure from a sense of hurting other people or a sense of conflict, of war, because it's in us as human beings to be warlike. I believe that we're spiritual beings experiencing a human experience, but our bodies are locked and loaded for war, rape, destruction. All types of shit is coded in us. And so what the media is doing is working to influence the whole. Influence the scene. Meanwhile, chemtrails, cell phone towers, smart meters, all these other things are taking place around us to affect the human body computer. Looks like my friend is here. I haven't seen Brett in some time. We're going to have some lunch. I'm right off MLK and Lombard. There's a great Mongolian grill if you're ever in Portland. And it's right off, again, MLK and Lombard. Decent place to eat. Thanks for watching. And there's a whole lot more ideas and information that I'm going to be sharing later on today. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.